What's up, Tabletop Masterminds? It's your guy, Zack, Applewhite. I want to take a moment to talk about failure because someone in the group sent me a Kickstarter of just a classic thing that I've seen that's like one of the reasons that the micro Kickstarter philosophy and strategy was born is that this perfect example, I'll put the link in the comments, it's called the Dead Man's Handbook, and it is all cards and print materials, digital materials, books, and cards. And it is a $30,000 goal, and they have 40 hours left, and they have raised $16,756. That means that they're over 50% of their goal. And there's a very real chance, being only a little over 50% funded, that they're not going to make it. Now, I hope that they do, and within the last 48 hours, you often have an opportunity for your followers to hop on and back you. However, many of them are going to be deterred because 16,000 or another 14,000 to cover. It's actually closer to 13,000, but consumer mind's going to say, "Oh, you're only a little over halfway there. We got another halfway to cover in 2 days." And there's a psychological, I forget what the principle is called, but it is that we like to be right. We like to feel correct about what we say is important. And basically that there is a psychological impairment to backing a horse that you think has a higher chance of losing, even if you're gambling with someone else's money. Because if the Kickstarter fails, no one loses money, but you're part of a loss, and that keeps a lot of potential backers from making up that gap. If it was the last 20%, I think they'd be fine. They're at a very high risk, though. And I wanted to take a moment because I wanted to talk about failure. One, because even if they don't make their 30,000 goal, it shouldn't be considered a failure. They raised almost $17,000 so far, and they'll probably raise $18,000 to $20,000 by the time they close the campaign. That should not be considered a failure. The unfortunate thing is that it is considered a failure. Some by backers, okay, but most of all by the creators. This hits hard to get this close, and for failure to be very much a possibility. And I don't know all their expenses. I don't know their art costs. I don't know what their intentions for the money were. But it seems to me that printing cards and books and having digital materials that have no overhead that can help you cover any costs that you're unsure about, that they did not need $30,000. That they could have done it with 20 and they'd be fine right now. That they could have done it for 10 and they'd be fine. They probably could have done it for $5,000. And if it was just books, I know for a fact they don't need more than 500 because I've done it. Cards I haven't done, but I've looked at the math before, and in my math with what I was doing, it didn't take 30,000. It took a few thousand, maximum 5 for me. So I wanted to talk about failure because there's a couple of very important things to take away here. One, 90% of first-time business ventures fail. That's much less likely with the micro Kickstarters that I do. You get to build on micro success, and you only have higher chance of failure the bigger you try and reach for. They reached for $30,000, they didn't reach it. That's considered a failure. However, like I said, it shouldn't be. But 90% of first-time business ventures fail. The statistic that most people don't know is that second-time business ventures only have a 20% failure rate. Fun fact. And unfortunately, the reverse is also true in that 80% of people who fail on their first venture don't have a second venture. And I think that's less true on Kickstarter. I think it's closer to 50. But there is a 50% chance that should this project fail, they won't launch another one. And that is something I want to caution against, because absolutely they should launch another one. I hope that they launch another one. I want success for creators, for projects. This is a good project, and I wish them success. And it's a cautionary tale of one, of course, go for goals that make sense, not anything that's vanity or is the perfect product. You don't need a perfect product. You need to get out the door, and you can build the perfect product with stretch goals. You can let your audience tell you what kind of product they want from you with their support. Okay, and you can make it more perfect once you have funds to work with. Kickstarter product does not need to be the final iteration of the product. It often isn't. Okay, and so that to say is that they absolutely should. I know I preach on the micro. I have a webinar coming up on it, but if you want to reach for something bigger, that's fine, and I'm all for you. If it doesn't work out, do not consider it a failure. Definitely go back and refund if you got 50%. Okay? Go back and look at your costs, look at what you needed the money for, and really think about how much money you need to get the product in their hands, to make them customers, to have success on the board, and to keep building on what you're trying to build. Okay? Because if you do it again, your chances of success are so much higher. You learn so much more. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that, because some of us, we're going to experience failure. It's a natural part. And some of us, all of us, are going to experience failure. It's a natural part. And it is just part of it. You move forward, and you learn from it, and you keep going. It's really easy to say, and I know for a fact it's a lot harder to do. And I just wanted to be another person in your ear to say that your failures don't define you. How you react to them is what defines you. Learn from them and move forward. And that's the name of the game.